The Wall Street Journal reporting the talks between top U.S. and China negotiators could conclude as early as the end of next month. U.S. Trade Rep Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin are expected to fly to Beijing next week to meet with the Chinese vice premier. But reports that China could be backpedaling on some trade concessions are still raising some concern. So will we be able to get a deal with China that we can trust? What do you think?
I'm hopeful, but I think it's doubtful. A trade deal would be a positive. Tariffs are not good for our country. It's a tax that's passed to us. It feels like every time we take a step closer, it feels like we have 2 steps backwards. I just don't see how we can get a deal that quickly. My guess is that the president's going to have to, prolong the agreement probably at least another 90 days, if not longer.
Yeah, look, I'm hopeful that we get a deal as well as with Robert, and with I think everybody out there hopes we get a deal. I'm not hopeful that we're going to get a deal that we can verify. I don't think the Chinese have said they're going to negotiate in good faith, which denotes that they weren't negotiating in good faith for the past 20 years. I think there's a real problem there. They're going for them to lie, to say that they're stealing intellectual property theft, they're going to stop. They have to admit that they were stealing it, and they're never going to do that. Look, the president right now is hosting the Brazilian president, who, by the way, is the one that's helping China get around the tariffs. The Chinese are building out the Brazilian infrastructure for soybeans that are whether you like these tariffs or not, and I do not, Brazil is helping them get around this. And the president is hosting the president of Brazil right now, who is one of the main problems that with our farmers going long term. I think we're doing structural damage to our country.
It's interesting. I was in Indiana last week, and I was actually talking to some of the farmers there and asked them about how these, tariffs are impacting them. And to my surprise, actually, they were still incredibly supportive of the president and said, we understand this bigger fight that he's having with China. I agree with what Robert and John were saying. The issue here is going to be enforcement. If you look back, and I've said this several times on the show, if you look back at everything that President Xi promised President Obama in 2015 in the Rose Garden, they've yet to live up to those promises. That's why I'm skeptical. Perhaps we should be looking at a series of smaller deals, more meetings between the two presidents. One thing to note is that in March in Beijing, right now, there is the tops of the heads of the Communist Party. Several committees are meeting. President Xi has faced some backlash at home politically and economically, so it doesn't surprise me that he pushed off this meeting with President Trump, especially whenever the heads of the party are meeting in Beijing.
Well, just think of it this way. If you were the Chinese, what would you do? You would try to wait out this current administration, right, to get a friendlier administration possibly. But I want to go back to the whole idea of tariffs, right? Isn't it a tariff when state-owned enterprises go into the markets and start subsidizing their companies and we end up paying, right? Isn't it a tariff when they start stealing intellectual property from our companies so they can't actually compete in Asia, right? So I think that the issues that we're having here are big and complex, and they weren't being addressed before this administration. Nothing was getting done, and now this administration is coming in and they're actually trying to get something done. So I think what the market wants is less rhetoric from the current administration. Like, I don't want the market to move one way or another based off of whether Peter Navarro is going to dinner or not.
It's interesting, Morgan, you say that about the farmers, because I'm hearing completely the other side. They were upset that they had to have a bailout.
When did you talk to farmers?
I've talked recently because we have a lot of Democrats in Iowa right now. And so we've had a bunch of conversations. I mean, listen, we know we're in two sides of but what I would say is they were not happy that they needed a bailout of $12 billion. They much rather have business as usual. And they certainly were not happy with the president's budget, where he's cutting incredible subsidies.
Can I ask you a serious question? And I mean this genuinely. What will the Democrats do to counter China? How will they, from a policy perspective? I certainly understand from a rhetoric and a tactic perspective at the WTO they'll be different, but how will they, from a policy perspective, be different on China than Trump?
Great question.
Do you want me to answer that? So I have 2 things that I would recommend. One would have been to go back into the TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership.
You think that can pass the Democrats?
It did pass, right? Because TPA passed, so all you need to do was an up and down vote. I mean, that was my view. Go back into TPP, which therefore 11 of the 12 trading partners in Southeast Asia would have been trading with the U.S. ex-China, New Zealand, Australia, Indonesia, Vietnam. The second thing, in which no one's done, is if they steal our property, there should be criminal espionage. Okay, the FCC has right to literally take them down. And we should really go after them with espionage and make it criminal, and also make it criminal for those people buying.
Well,
okay. I mean, we have to. It's
you
either
work
criminal or
part-time
it's
for
not.
the Navy, right? I mean, the fact is that we had this incredible story last week about how the Navy was accusing them of espionage against some of our most sensitive new technology, in particular this missile technology. It was going to be put on submarines, which may have been completely compromised by the Chinese. That's somehow working its way. It's got to be working its way into these trade talks. No?
It absolutely should be, and I completely agree with Robert's assessment there. I just think, you know, that it's more likely that I'm going to be a mermaid before the Democrats pass TPP.
Well, we know who took it off the table, though.
Okay, we got to leave it at that.